Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling the world of AI, specifically the journey of one of its most prominent figures,
Okay.
Fei-Fei Li.
That's good.
And it's a journey that's as much about human passion and perseverance as it is about algorithms and data.
Absolutely. And it's a fascinating story, too, because it's not your typical, straight line from point A to point B.
Right, and what I find so interesting is how she starts.
Yeah.
Picture this 16 years old arriving in a new country.
Wow.
Having to learn a whole new language and culture. That's exactly what Li faced when she moved from China to the U.S.
Talk about a crash course in adaptation, right? I mean, just imagine being 16 in a completely new environment like that.
Yeah, and she thrives.
She does.
Which is amazing to me.
It is really. And what I find striking is, amidst all of that, she discovers this passion for physics,
Okay.
which she then goes on to pursue at Princeton.
It's not the typical origin story for like an AI trailblazer.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You kind of expect folks in this field to have been, coding since they were 5.
Right, exactly.
But this is where it gets interesting. The foundation in physics sparks this whole other curiosity
Okay.
about the human brain
Okay.
and how we process visual information.
Interesting.
It's like she was seeking to understand the world, first through these fundamental laws of physics,
Right.
and then through this lens of human perception.
So we see this curiosity about the physical world, the brain.
Yeah.
Then she goes on to get her PhD in electrical engineering from Caltech. It's like she was building this completely unique toolkit, pulling from all these different disciplines.
Exactly. And this multidisciplinary approach, that's something that becomes a real hallmark of her career.
And this is where ImageNet comes in.
Exactly.
And to fully appreciate ImageNet,
Yes.
you have to kind of understand the state of AI back then.
Right.
Computers, they really struggled to recognize even simple images reliably.
It's true. It's funny to think about it now, but back then, getting a computer to just tell the difference between a cat and a dog,
Right.
it was a big deal.
So you're saying, like, we didn't always have phones that could unlock with our faces or
You're right.
cars that could sort of drive themselves.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It sounds crazy now, right? But that's how it was.
Yeah.
And it was a huge bottleneck in AI research. And so Lee, she has this groundbreaking realization,
Okay.
the key to unlocking AI's visual potential.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily these, fancier algorithms or faster computers. It was data.
That's a pretty profound insight.
It is.
So explain that.
Oh,
Why
well.
was data so important?
Well, think about how humans learn to see.
Yeah. Okay.
We're exposed to this massive amount of visual information from the moment we're born, right?
Yeah.
And it's that constant exposure that allows us to recognize objects, faces, emotions, all of that. 'Cause
Okay.
recognize that computers needed a similar kind of visual experience to learn effectively.
Okay, so that makes sense. But how do you even begin to teach a computer to see? Like,
Yeah.
where do you even start?
That's where ImageNet comes in.
Okay.
And ImageNet, it's not just a data set. It's more like creating this massive visual encyclopedia for AI. Lai and her team, they meticulously organized millions of images
Wow.
into thousands of categories.
Yeah.
Everything from dogs and cats to more abstract concepts like sunset or happiness.
Wow.
It was about creating a common visual language for AI, something that it could understand.
Oh, okay.
And this had huge implications for things we use every day now, self-driving cars,
Right.
image recognition.
Well, medical diagnosis.
Exactly, even the way we interact with our phones.
It's true.
All of that can be traced back to this idea of giving AI a visual education.
So not an overstatement to say that ImageNet was revolutionary?
Not at all.
Okay.
And its impact is perhaps best illustrated by the ImageNet competition, which Lai and her team launched.
Okay.
In 2012, a team entered with this deep learning model called AlexNet.
Okay. And how'd they do?
They completely blew the competition away. Before AlexNet error rates in image recognition were hovering around 25%.
Okay.
AlexNet, trained on ImageNet's massive data set, achieved an error rate of just 15%.
Wow.
It was a seismic shift in the field.
Okay.
This victory, it demonstrated the power of deep learning,
Okay.
which uses artificial neural networks to kind of mimic the way the human brain processes information.
Okay, so ImageNet provides the fuel,
Yes,
and AlexNet, powered by deep learning, showed how far AI could go with the right resources.
precisely. It's like they cracked the code of computer vision.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is where Lai's story takes another really interesting turn.
Okay.
While she might be best known for ImageNet,
Right.
her vision extended far beyond just datasets and algorithms.
Okay.
She was acutely aware that AI had the potential to be not just groundbreaking, but world-changing.
Yeah.
And she wanted to make sure it was used for good.
And that brings us to...
Her next groundbreaking chapter.
Yes.
But before we dive into that, I think it's crucial to understand.
It's crucial to understand that this wasn't just about advancing the technology for her.
Right.
It was about something bigger than that.
Exactly. Lynn recognized that you can't separate technological advancement from its impact on society.
Right.
You know, the ethical implications, the societal impact, these things are just as important as the algorithms themselves.
Yeah, and that leads us to the founding of the Stanford Human-Centered AI Institute, or HAI.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a perfect example of her vision in action.
So tell me about HAI. Like, what's the core idea behind it?
So Lynn understood that creating ethical and beneficial AI, it's not just a tech problem.
Okay.
It requires a much more holistic approach, and HAI embodies that vision. You have technologists, of course,
Right.
but you also have ethicists, legal experts, economists, historians.
Wow. So it's really this diverse group of people coming together
Absolutely.
to really explore AI from all these different angles.
Precisely because it's about recognizing that AI isn't just about ones and zeros.
Right.
It's about people and how this technology impacts their lives.
Yeah, it's about making sure that AI reflects human values,
Exactly.
not just technical capabilities.
And speaking of putting principles into action, Lai's time at Google Cloud is particularly fascinating.
Right, because it's one thing to talk about ethical AI in a university setting,
Right.
but it's another to champion those values at one of the world's most powerful tech companies.
Absolutely.
So what was her focus there?
So she had this really interesting dual role. On the one hand, she's focused on making AI more accessible.
Okay.
Through Google Cloud's platform.
Makes sense.
But at the same time, she's also pushing for responsible development within the company.
Okay.
And within the industry as a whole.
Okay, so that makes sense. But how do you even begin to tackle those issues?
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking.
Right.
One of her key focuses was diversity.
Okay.
And this was really crucial.
Yeah.
She recognized that if AI is going to serve everyone,
Yeah.
it needs to be built by everyone.
Right.
And that means actively bringing more women, people of color, individuals from underrepresented backgrounds into the field.
Because if you have a wider range of perspectives in the room,
Exactly.
you're more likely to create technology that benefits everyone.
Precisely. It's not just about fairness.
Okay.
It's about the future of AI. Diverse teams, they're more likely to anticipate challenges,
Right.
consider a wider range of implications, and ultimately develop AI that benefits a broader spectrum of humanity.
And that commitment to inclusion that really comes through in her work with AI4AL.
Absolutely. AI4AL is such an inspiring initiative.
It is so, tell me about that. What is it? Why is it so important?
So Lunny recognized that access to AI education,
Yeah.
it's often limited to those with privilege
Yeah, that's a great point.
and resources.
Yeah.
And so she created AI4AL, this nonprofit that provides opportunities for underrepresented high school students,
Okay.
particularly girls and students of color, to learn about AI, to see themselves as potential innovators.
It's about showing them that they can be creators, not just consumers of this technology.
Exactly. And it's about planting those seeds of possibility early on.
What an incredible legacy.
It truly is. And it speaks to Lee's belief that the future of AI hinges on empowering those who've been historically excluded
Right.
from these fields.
And even with all of her accomplishments, she hasn't slowed down.
Not at all.
She's back at Stanford continuing to push the boundaries of AI research.
She is.
So she's come full circle in a way.
In a way.
Right. From exploring physics and the human brain to leading this charge for more human-centered AI.
It's true.
And now back to research, but with all of that experience and insight guiding her work.
It really is a remarkable trajectory, and it highlights how interconnected her personal journey is with the evolution of AI as a whole.
So she's constantly asking those tough questions.
Always.
Right. Not just can we build it, but should we?
Right.
And if so, how?
Exactly. Those questions have never been more important.
Yeah. Especially as AI becomes more and more a part of our everyday lives.
Absolutely. It's something we all need to be thinking about and discussing.
Now, with all of this in mind, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? From Fei-Fei Li's journey?
Well, I think one thing that really stands out is just the sheer impact of Lai's work.
Yeah.
You know, we often think of AI as this rapidly evolving field,
Right.
which it is, but Lai's insights with ImageNet, they had this ripple effect that we're still feeling today.
Right. It's like she laid the foundation for so much of what we take for granted now.
Exactly, from facial recognition to medical imaging analysis,
Yeah.
all of that has roots in the work she did with ImageNet.
It's
It
incredible.
really is, but beyond the technical achievements, I think the most important takeaway is her unwavering commitment to human-centered AI.
Right.
She reminds us that technology, especially something as powerful as AI,
Yeah.
should never be developed in a vacuum.
It's about considering the consequences, the ethical implications, and making sure that it benefits humanity as a whole.
Exactly. It's about making sure that everyone benefits, not just a select few.
And she's not just talking about it, she's actively working to shape a better future for AI.
Absolutely. Through
Yep.
HAI, through AI for AL, through her continued research.
Right.
She's really leading by example.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
It is.
And it makes you realize that we all have a role to play
We do.
in shaping the future of this technology.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the incredible journey of Fei-Fei Li,
Yeah.
I'm left feeling incredibly inspired. She's a shining example of how passion, dedication, and a commitment to using technology for good can truly change the world.
Absolutely. Her story is a call to action for all of us.
It is, and maybe, just maybe, her story will inspire all of us to think a little differently about the potential of AI and how we can all contribute to a future where AI benefits everyone.
That's a great takeaway.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.